peak vitality and stamina. With 300 milligrams of pure Damiana extract, it's designed for both men and women to support balance, mood, and natural spark. Reclaim your flow with McDowell's Damiana. Unlock the best version of you. Available at Health Service Center on the John Compton Highway and all pharmacies. You can also order online on McDowellsProducts.com.
Hello, all realist. Thank you for listening to Real FM. If you'd like to call our studio, here is the number. Call the direct line on 4533911, or you can WhatsApp call on 4879849. Call to participate, win prizes, request music, and interact with our announcers and DJs. Real FM, the People's Station.
Rediscover your rhythm. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Morning walks, time with loved ones, and moving freely without constant discomfort. But when joint and muscle pain slow you down, even the simple moments can feel like a challenge. That's where McDowell's Pain Complex comes in. Formulated to support joint comfort and mobility, McDowell's Pain Complex helps you get back to the life you love, step by step, day by day. Move easier, feel better, live fully. McDowellsProducts.com. McDowell's Pain Complex. Rediscover your rhythm. Now available at all leading pharmacies and at Health Service Center upstairs the Napa Building on the John Compton Highway.
Soufriere Jazz and Arts. That's the best community jazz event in St. Lucia.
You heard it. Now come to Soufriere Jazz and Arts, the ultimate experience. Gramps Morgan. Voice. Montiel. VYB, Afar Alain, Ezra the Fun Machine, Imran Nerdy, Reasons Orchestra, Boo Hinkson and the True Tones. Now on a Saturday, May 2nd, doors open from 3 p.m. Get your tickets at $150 or indulge in the ultimate VIP Village experience for $400. Purchase at FourCircleTickets.com, the Cell Outlets Island-wide, and the Soufriere Foundation office. 9 incredible artists, 1 unforgettable night. And also join us for DJ Souf Creole Breakfast Fest Sunday, May 3rd. Admission free. The ultimate weekend in the ultimate location. Soufriere Jazz. The ultimate experience.
Stop letting your night be defined by trips to the bathroom. Waking up 3 or 4 times a night isn't just getting older. It's a wake-up call. Reclaim your flow and your freedom with McDowell Prostate Health. Specially formulated for men over 40, our premium herbal formula targets weak flow and frequent interruptions before they sideline your life. Don't just manage the symptoms, stay ahead of them. Get back the confidence of a full night's sleep and the strength of a healthy flow. Feel like yourself again. Pick up McDowell's Prostate Health at Health Services Center, pharmacies, or order online at McDowellProducts.com.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Another wonderful Thursday Thursday afternoon to you, everyone. Welcome once again to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, your host and producer, alongside our technical operator, Alton Jaquan Joseph. And we hope that you're having a good day so far. It is the 16th day of the month of April 2026. I got it right, Jaquan? I'm improving, you know. I must check which of the tablets, multivitamins, whatever that I'm drinking these days that I'm not confusing. You know, I used to work with a guy at Radio St. Lucia. He was a legend in St. Lucia broadcasting called Andrew Vaughan Osborne. Well, you know, most people knew him as Cousin V, the Bumblebee. That was, you know, some of his... He actually received the national award. And Cousin V, one thing about him, he always could not remember the day, the time or something. It is now 10 minutes to 9 o'clock, and it's already 10 minutes to midday or something. And then he said, you know, he'll correct himself or something like that. Cousin V was a Grenadian native, and I think today we are having a guest who is also a Grenadian native. He passed away, I would think, about 2013, so up to now we'll talk about 13 years since he passed away. And I think it was in the month of April at just the age of 70, you know. So, you know, anytime I have these little memory lapses where the time and so on are concerned, they make me remember him. He was actually one of my first contacts when I made my initial foray into broadcasting while I was still at school, because he used to be the evening news reader at what was then St. Lucia Television, later purchased by Steve Anius and his partners, and it became HTS. It was short distance, as it is still now, from Radio St. Lucia, which is defunct, has been closed for several years. And, you know, Cousin V used to work at Radio St. Lucia and do the evening news. And he was very unselfish, I must say. You know, shared with me, gave me little pointers where he could. And so I got a job reading news in the evenings while I was still at school. They paid $10 a night. So you can imagine for a 17-year-old at the time, that meant quite a lot, you know, to be getting $10. And, you know, Vaughan didn't mind giving up some nights and so on. And after the news, there were those wonderful little outings for a little snack, a little drink here and so on, mostly up at Dave's Dubois' restaurant and bar up the morning. I actually lived 2 lanes below. And the other person who used to be around was the studio technician, long deceased right now, called Chester Lloyd. And there was also another technical guy called Robbie. Robbie was actually a part-timer because his substantial job was with the Ministry of Communications works and so on. And it was so nice listening to the political debates and arguments at Dave's Dubois' place between Dave's himself, very heated, animated man, his wife, you know, Maduba, Hermina was the name actually, and Mr. Oliver Scott Sr., elderly man, but I'm going to tell you he was very passionate, very on fire when it came to, you know, political discussions and so on. Junior, his son Oliver Scott Jr., didn't used to really hang around there. But I remember some of the names, and they would take on everybody, you know, and I love listening to them because, you know, a lot of things, the history, especially in politics, which I was interested in from a very young man, you know, you used to have them there. But a Shelton Daniel with no preamble is a very rare thing, right? It's pretty odd. And I saw I'd come with no preamble, but there I'm already venturing into one. But I'll cut it short today. It is not going to be anything like, because I have a guest, and it's been a few days since we spoke, and he expressed an interest in being on the program. And he's one of those vying for election to the executive of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association when they hold elections for that purpose on Wednesday, the 29th of April. So we're talking about less than 2 weeks away. 16 and 29 is almost 2 weeks, 13 days as opposed to the 14. So, he'll be one of those standing. Apparently, he's not part of any team. He's going up in his own stead. He's going up in his own individual persona for a position which is right at the very top. Now, I posted something on in the Real Issues WhatsApp group, and I forwarded it to some individuals. I just want to show you I'm not vexed about anything or annoyed about it, but I just didn't want there to be any misunderstanding. that anybody will feel that I'm backing any particular person or any particular team, even if I do so privately, but certainly not in my capacity as a broadcaster on NBC that I'm rooting for anybody. I just find trade unionism is one of those things that deserves a lot more attention, a lot more study, a lot more awareness and consciousness among our people. It has had so much to do with our history, with our evolution, with our development, with our emergence as a people, even as a sovereign nation. It has been so much of a guidepost and a booster along the way in terms of the people that we have become, moving out from under colonialism and associated statehood and going into full independence and so on, that it is something that is worth devoting some time to discuss in the public space. But I was invited by members of the current executive, who are seeking re-election, by the way, to come over to the CSA building, the CSA Center, the CSA Secretariat. The building is owned by the CSA, well-fenced, nice parking area and all, to take a walk through, especially in the upstairs part of it, to see how it has deteriorated, over several years, to the extent that it's closed, and this was a place that not just CSA activities, but people could rent it for a dance. I have gone to, political retreat and so on of the Labour Party and a whole lot of activities and events. And I think it was a source of some revenue and so on for the CSA. It has fallen into some disrepair, parts of the inner paneling of the ceiling, fallen off, you can see it on the floor, a lot of dust. And I even asked them, and they're concerned about mold. They said, yes, there is mold infestation. So just walking inside there, sometimes your footsteps will trigger the dust, on the floor and so on. It's not in a good condition, and that means whatever problems the CSA has, this is not helping, because that's not bringing in anything for them, and they have to find money and things. So it was just because the CSA, if you know, is just a less than a stone's throw from where we are inside Sanssouci. Small, we can almost say they are our neighbors. All right, so between there and NBC, it was, I figured, hey, why not go for it? And at the end of it all, very good-naturedly, they said, let's take a group photo. And they gave me the job of taking the photo without me being in it. And then someone said, no, but Shelton, come and take a picture with us to be in the shot. And I went and I took it, and it was circulated. And then this morning I woke up to a couple of messages asking whether the picture means an endorsement, whether I'm endorsing the people in it. And I had to say no. And apparently somebody circulated it and said that it is a picture that they took as part of their campaign stop, So I don't know whether a campaign stop involves the CSA's own premises and so on, which I went by at the invitation to just visit and to see for myself. I actually took some video recordings on my phone of, the dilapidation and so on of the, learned a lot of things about trees that were growing in the yard, and the roots of the trees were creating problems, undermining the foundation of it all. And I think they were beautiful peach pine trees or whatever it was and so on. Not the type of thing you want to go and cut down just like that. You can be ecologically conscious and sensitive and passionate, but at the same time there is the downside. You spend a lot of money for your foundation and so on. So it was just making the point that my appearing in the picture with them, very nice people, treated me well, spent some time with the General Secretary, Mr. Max Steven Zapp Orbertin, who I've known forever. And I have known this gentleman, Mr. Julian Monrose, who I understand is the Deputy General Secretary. And then I realized that I was actually meeting Tekla Goodman for the first time. I do not remember encountering her in person. I saw the person, you can equate with the pictures, but this was the first time meeting her, in person. And Cleopatra Anthony, somebody I've known for many, many, many years and so on. And so that was really what it was about. As I posted in the thing, I have no horse in the race, and I have no skin in the game, for the CSA thing and so on. That's why I decided, as many as express an interest. And I think there's another team member called me, and I'm supposed to give him a date for next week, because tomorrow, President Tekla Goodman and Cleopatra are coming on, because they were supposed to have been when in the other one where Andrew Charles and Lindell James came, but they couldn't come. The president was representing a member in some matter, and Cleo had taken ill overnight, so they've promised that they would come. They wanted to come yesterday. I think I had initially told them yesterday, Then the call for the Senate to serve in the Senate as a temporary yesterday came up, so I told him, no, I can't do that one again, and I've already promised Nixon Thursday. So the only other day, which I find a lot of people don't like Fridays, I don't know, for some reason they believe people's heads are too much into the weekend and the partying or whatever. They didn't say that, that a lot of people don't want to come on talk shows because people are not listening on a Friday, which may not necessarily be true. But they agreed to come tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be having President Tekla Goodman and Trustee Cleopatra Anthony will be my guest on this program. But for today, without any further ado, let me say good afternoon and welcome to a CSA President hopeful, Mr. Nixon Barry, who's in with us. Nixon, good afternoon and thank you for being here.
Good afternoon and thank you very much for having me, sir.
Okay. I noticed you've decided to go it alone. What happened? The team thing don't appeal to you? Because to me, a man like you should not have too much of a challenge or difficulty organizing a team, because I understand you've been a past executive member of the CSA.
Correct,
in a very we can say respectable premium capacity, you know. So tell us about your bid to become CSA president. What drove it? Yeah.
Well, let me address the team thing first. For me, I believe the team that we need is Team CSA. I believe in leadership, you must be prepared to govern people of different realities, people who have different perspectives. I've seen this team thing, people go in with this team thing, and months later, something erupts and it's just chaos and continuous and fighting, etc. So
people cake burn.
Yes, as they say, the cake burn.
But you can go in without team and you can still have your cake burn, especially.
Well, while that is true, I believe there's an openness.
That you don't start with any deposit in the bank of friendship or association and camaraderie. You go in that day expecting that the dry rules and processes and procedures
of
will
the
work
institution
for you. Right.
will stand.
But then there might be people who don't have any history of some chemistry with you, you know. So
and that's okay. That's okay. I mean, we work with who is there. The CSA has its rules, it has its regulations. I believe it has worked well in the past, and I'm expecting it to work well now.
Okay.
I think what is required is solid leadership, and that takes me into the point of to why I'm running for the organization. I've been involved in civil society movements across the region. I've served as the...
By the way, I understand that you're not a native of St. Lucia.
And that is correct.
That you're Grenadian.
That is correct.
How long have you been in St. Lucia?
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years. Okay.
And I want to build on that Grenadian thing even as I make the point.
Okay.
Because I've served in the CSC as a shop steward, I've served as a member of General Council, I've served as the chair of the youth committee, I've served as second vice president, and now I'm serving as the first vice president.
What brought you to St. Lucia? Was it under the facilities of CARICOM Free Movement, OECS National, and so on?
Yes.
And you came here to work in the public service? Or
when I came here, I did not start off in the public service.
Okay.
I did a short stint at the OECS, and I worked along.
The OECS is the public
USAID contractor for a while. I've worked with Rice St. Lucia, I've worked with the St. Lucia Tourist Board at the airport. So I've done quite a lot in the field.
All right.
Yes.
Did you ever learn how to make oil down? Because I'm
well, of course, I know how to make it.
But you didn't think to bring a little pot of it here for us and so
maybe on Friday.
Okay.
It sounds like a good weekend thing.
Okay, so really, who is Nixon Barry?
Well,
I mean, if I were to ask that question and you were to put it as succinctly as you can, who is Nixon Barry? You are not an unknown quantity because you have served in all these places you've said, and plus even at the CSA, I think you were treasurer, secretary, I can't remember.
First and second vice president.
Right, okay, so you held positions and so on, that you are no stranger, you are no bolt out of the blue.
Correct. Nixon Barry is a strong leader. He has a background in civil society. He's very passionate about community development. I've worked in the development sector for about 14 years now, both as a consultant, as an employee of the government of St. Lucia. I worked in the government of Grenada. So he's a civil society man. He's a man of leadership. He's a man who understands people. He's a development practitioner.
Okay. What is your area of specialization and what area of the civil service do you work in right now? Are you an accountant? Are you a budget analyst? Or
youth development and sports. I work in
youth development and sports. Okay.
So I work in the development of sports where I also oversee the registration of clubs and organizations. So when it comes to helping clubs with their constitutions, with their governance structure, and all those things, I assist with that. And I'm also proud to say, in the last year, I was part of the team that led and defended the youth policy before the cabinet and got it approved. In fact, I made the presentation supported by my senior management team. So I believe I'm known, I've made the contributions, and I continue to work.
Okay, I want to hold out on you on this one, that I've been getting some messages when I announced that you'd be here, where people are making references to your non-national status.
Correct.
Up to this morning, I'm not pretending that I'm your defender, because but I had to ask the person, isn't that something that's known? You know,
right.
Hasn't Nixon served on the CSA executive before? Was that ever an issue? Did they ever bring it up as something to take exception to? So, you know, I want to know why
it's never
now.
Been an issue.
Have you been getting digs and jabs?
My friend, I've gotten the AI photos, the Grenadian snake. I've gotten all the different... Yeah. Probably I show you would laugh. I've gotten all the different jabs, you know. But
and it's only because now you're running for president. In the past, when you were running for...
I was not a Grenadian snake, no.
You didn't have a Grenadian snake?
No.
Now you get... Have you been able to identify the sources of it, or, you know...
Well, I believe we know where it's coming from. We know where it's coming from, but there are people who believe that I don't know. And some things you just let be because it doesn't add any value to the situation.
And does it bother you?
It doesn't bother me because when I ran, when I served as youth chair, there was an issue. When I served on the general council, that was not an issue. When I was elected as second vice president, and let's get that one straight, I was elected as second vice president. In my bio, said that I worked and Grenada was in there. That was not an issue. And mind you, that election, I got the popular vote. The last election, I got the popular vote. I got more vote than the president and everybody else.
Wow, okay.
So it's only now...
I never heard that Grenada had snakes.
We don't have...
Do you have
some maybe some boa constrictors, but not anything poisonous.
But if there are any, maybe about two. Their names will be Nixon and Barry.
It's irrelevant. Irrelevant. I think it's discriminatory, and it does not represent what the CSA stands for and what our region stands for.
Tell you what, Nixon, before we go into our break, Japan, the little clips and so on that we have, let's play them in whatever, you know, let people see them. So this one is a flyer. We don't have video clips or anything there?
Yes, there should be.
There should be one.
Blueprints.
Okay, let's play it.
Okay. Consider this. The last time travel and subsistence was reviewed in St. Lucia was over a decade ago. Think about it. Over 10 years of increase in prices and global economic situations that affected us. Yet, no change. Here are the facts. Fact. The travel allowance is no longer sufficient to maintain our vehicles and keep them roadworthy. Fact. $25 is not sufficient to buy a proper meal and drink, much less $18 for breakfast. Fact. 0.85 cents per kilometer is not enough to get us there to do the job. This is our reality. However, a Barry's presidency will engage the employer to review the travel and subsistence to meet the current day economic demands. Additionally, we must place emphasis on the conversation about vehicle concessions for traveling officers. CSA, vote for real results. Vote Nixon Barry for president in the CSA elections 2026. People over profit. Forward with Barry.
All right. Thank you for that, Jaquan. But there are others. I think you can just go into the others. Let's just play what we have so people will, get a little bit of the information that Nixon Barry. And when we come back from the break, if you want to comment specifically on anything, you can do that.
Lift up your head and hold it up high. We know that we'll win the fight. I'm getting older. Now, forward.
All right, real issues. Nixon Barry, the man who's running for president and is going by himself, he's not going with any team. What kind of feedback have you been getting? What kind of fancy do you hold for your chances at being elected president as a Lone Ranger? I mean, whether we like it or not, there's a certain kind of show of force that comes with being part of a team. You understand? Set of people who already have their mind made up and so on, but this man wants to wade in there and basically become, a general, without being part of the general staff or having,
I don't think that's not a true reflection.
Yeah.
For me, I have interactions with people who are running.
Mm-hmm.
I've had conversations with people who are running. I know there are people who are running that I am definitely going to support.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are people who are running that are supporting me as well. But as I said, I'm not doing to say I'm putting together a team of people, because I believe you have to be open. You have to be open to welcome, because half of two teams go in there and it becomes a fraction. You get stuck, you really don't get anywhere. I think you should be open and ready to work with whoever is elected.
Okay, what are people who are giving you feedback and what you would consider to be honest opinion, telling you that they like about you, what you are presenting, what you are offering, and so on? What kind of feedback are they? The positive one that they're telling you, look, Nixon, you know what I'm happy about and what I like about you. What vibes you get?
I think they're happy about my clean campaign. They're happy about my clean campaign. They're happy about my blueprints, because it connects to them in one way or another. I think they're also happy about my leadership. As I said, the first time I ran in elective CSA politics, I got the most votes.
Okay, you got the most votes, but what did you do you think?
I think it's my leadership
distinguishes you, that they can say, okay, Nixon was the one who proposed this. Nixon was the one who submitted a paper on that. Nixon was the one who made that recommendation or whatever, or who sat on a negotiating team, something of that kind. Tell me.
It has to do with the interaction. It has to do with things that are even outside of the CSA. The work that I do outside of the CSA, and that is what contributed to me in the first in the first instance. I think people identify. I'm a people's person. I'm a charismatic leader. I'm a strong leader, and they identify and they want someone right now to steady the CSA issue.
Okay. As someone whose area of strength and specialization is in youth and sports development, how do you think you have been able to before, and how do you think you will be able to leverage that into an advantage for the CSA, to make young people, if their interest in trade union representation has waned, in boosting the membership of because more young people are entering into the workforce, who you can consider part of the youth development and so on. So what value in that area do you think you have brought and want to bring again to the CSA?
Young people are the now, and they're also the future of the CSA. For me, I've been able to interact with them. I believe the plans that I have, one of which is we have to look at the gig economy. We have to look at what? The gig economy. The gig. Young people in entrepreneurship. There are young people who work in the service.
I haven't heard that one yet. The gig economy. The economy of gigs and so on. I thought you said DG. Tell me, what's the gig economy?
The gig economy, like young entrepreneurs. You have a small business. You might be working in the service, but you have a shop, a gig on the side.
So it's the youth economy kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
all right, okay.
Yes,
that one had me for a moment there. It's not as challenging, okay.
Yeah, so there are young people who work in the service, or people who work in the service, and what they receive as a monthly income just don't make ends meet. And so I believe we have to create partnership. We have to look at SDG 17. We have to create partnerships to allow our young people to be trained in entrepreneurship and other areas, so that they can live sustainable livelihoods. They can bring in extra income. And I think this is what they identify with as well, in terms of my youth development background. But my background is also in policy.
Okay.
In shaping the policy, and I know that they've gone around saying, "Oh, Barry was supposed to do the strategic plan and he didn't." But I want to put on the record that Claude Paul and myself, we were chairing the strategic plan committee. I developed the instrument. The comrade and I, with the team, sat down. We examined it. We fixed it up, and we are ready to go. However, time did not permit. We have full-time jobs, we have different things doing. And so what I did was to take the strategic plan and I said, listen, before the general council, I said, listen, we don't have the time, we have the instrument. Can we hire a consultant to get this going forward? And one trustee stood up and said she does not trust the executive to hire the person, and it's been a lot. The vote failed, and the strategic plan is still awaiting.
Okay. What are the criticisms that you have heard from people about you? Okay, you've heard this say, this is what I like, this is the strength I think you have. But what are the critiques and the misgivings or reservations that people have either said to you, to your face, or you're aware that people are saying about you?
Well, I think the things I've heard is the same narrative that some people are pushing, that a non-national should not lead the union, which I believe is somewhat translates into hate speech and discrimination, because it's not what our CSA is about. They've also said, oh, he sat there for 2 years and he did nothing. But what some of them expected of me was to add to the chaos.
Which 2 years are they referring to? Because you had two positions that you had.
2024.
You were second vice president, and you were also first.
I became first vice president a few weeks ago because the other first resigned. So yeah, he sat there for two years and he did nothing. And I was like, really? What you wanted me to do was to add to the chaos. You wanted me to start attacking people. And for me, I'm Shelton, I don't believe in this. I believe institution first. And I want to also put on record that we should not be airing our business as an organization in the public. I believe our business should be discussed among the membership, and we should find results.
Can you give an example of business that is being aired?
Well, last night I looked at a program on New Spin. I was receiving several calls last night, and I was told to, Barry, you need to sign on to New Spin, and everything about the CSA financial audit, the Labour Commission, the Registrar of Trade Union is going to shut down the CSA based on article this and that. Minutes of meetings or excerpts have been posted on Facebook pages. And to me, you are weakening the organization. You are people that want to come in and now afraid, and people who are in now saying they should get out. Institution first.
How are you going to fix that? What's system of governance of the union can you bring into
the conversation happens in the boardroom. The conversation stays in the boardroom. The conversation moves into the general council, into the general membership. We have to come together, discuss it, and find resolve. People's petty issues and egos must be moved out of the way. I have chaired meetings of the executive, comrade. Allow me to call you comrade.
No, of course. Yeah.
I have chaired meetings of the executive, and I had no issues.
Okay.
I had no issues to say people are because it's about how you lead.
Okay. All right. We are overdue for the commercial break. Let's take it. When we come back, I have one question that I think is important that I need to put to you, but you kind of semi-answered it about you were there and what did you do.
Right.
But it's with regard to something specific that I want to ask you. No ambush, really, in terms of it. But we'll continue the conversation. You with The Real Issues. My guest today is Nixon Barry, and he is one of the persons vying for election to the executive of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association for the next 2 years. That election is due to take place on the 29th of this month. And of course, Nixon is aiming for the top spot, that is for the position of president of the CSA. We'll be back shortly.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Life moves fast. To keep up, you need more than just energy. You need vitality. Introducing McDowell's Damiana, a celebrated botanical secret crafted for all genders, now captured in a single daily capsule. For women, it's great for hormone balance and reproductive health. For men, it's the traditional secret to peak vitality and stamina. With 300 milligrams of pure Damiana extract, it's designed for both men and women to support balance, mood, and natural spark. Reclaim your flow with McDowell's Damiana. Unlock the best version of you. Available at Health Service Center on the John Compton Highway and all pharmacies. You can also order online on McDowellsProducts.com. Rediscover your rhythm. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Morning walks, time with loved ones, and moving freely without constant discomfort. But when joint and muscle pain slow you down, even the simple moments can feel like a challenge. That's where McDowell's Pain Complex comes in. Formulated to support joint comfort and mobility, McDowell's Pain Complex helps you get back to the life you love, step by step, day by day. Move easier, feel better, live fully. McDowellsProducts.com. McDowell's Pain Complex. Rediscover your rhythm. Now available at all leading pharmacies and at Health Service Center upstairs the Napa Building on the John Compton Highway.
Soufriere Jazz and Arts, that's the best community jazz event in St. Lucia.
You heard it. Now come to Soufriere Jazz and Arts, the ultimate experience. Gramps Morgan. Voice. Montreal. ZYP, Soufriere, Ezra the Fun Machine, Imran Nerdy, Reasons Orchestra, Boo Hinkson and the True Tones. Now on a Saturday, May 2nd, doors open from 3 p.m. Get your tickets at $150 or indulge in the ultimate VIP Village experience for $400. Purchase at FourCircleTickets.com, the Cell Outlets Island-wide, and the Soufriere Foundation office. 9 incredible artists, 1 unforgettable night. And also join us for DJ Souf Creole Breakfast Fest Sunday, May 3rd. Admission free. The ultimate weekend in the ultimate location. Soufriere Jazz. The ultimate experience.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Thank you everyone for staying with the Real Issues on this Thursday, April the 16th, 2026. I'm Shelton Daniel, your host, and my guest today is a gentleman who is hoping to become elected as the next president of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association for the next 2 years. That is the term. And his name is Nixon Barry. He is in the St. Lucia Civil Service, and he says that he specializes in the area of youth and sports development, okay?
Mostly the youth.
Mostly the youth, okay. He looks very young himself.
Yes.
All right, so Nixon, there are some of the complaints that I have heard about the situation with the CSA building.
Right.
All right, that you were a member of the executive at the time, or you were at the leadership level of the CSA, and you could have done something, or you were tasked with doing something to have helped that situation, but you basically did not. Now, you mentioned about strategic plan and all of that already. What do you know about the deterioration of the CSA's building, which is a huge asset, and did any of that fall on your plate or in your lap to address it or to deal with it as far as you can?
Not directly. Well, as a member of the executive, I have to absorb, but this was never a specific responsibility of mine. There is a building committee, and a lot of the work happened there. In terms of the building is in a very bad state. and I believe more could have been done. We've attempted to do some renovation. I think there were a lot of disagreement. For me, I believe that the building should be redesigned and expanded to really serve the needs of the members. As it stands now, just renovating it as it is doesn't put us at an advantage. For example, we have space at the side. We can come across to offer more services. Right now, the building is not accessible. Even if you repair it as is, it's not accessible because if you have a physical disability and you're probably a wheelchair bound or so, you can't really enter the CSA building. You cannot go upstairs because there's no elevator, there's no ramp. So I am proposing that we redesign the building. We redesign an accessible building, that we engage with a company such as the NIC, a company such as Renault, to ask them, hey, let us do a partnership. Construct first on a rent-to-earn basis. We've had building committees after building committees after building committees, and to date, the building is still in a state of disarray.
Why is this happening, that you have the committees and you have the engagements, but nothing seems to come out of it? Are some people, in your opinion, playing a game? Because I understand you do that, there's always some consultancy, there's always some report, there's always some assessment, and somebody or some people get some money gets funneled away, and nothing gets done and so on. Is it some kind of game or subterfuge in itself that is happening, or is it simply people are taking on projects and assignments that they don't have the experience, they don't have the competence? It's really not something that's in their that's in their ballpark.
It happens because some people are very excited about serving on some committees. I want to be on a committee, but when you sit down and you really assess what are they bringing to the committee, they don't have the capacity, really. I don't know about the money siphoning or money going whatever. I have not heard.
Right.
I cannot speak on that. I will be making false statements if I do. But what I know is that I think real leadership is needed, because the plans are there, they have been proposed. I think it takes real leadership to be able to convince, the people that this is where we want to go. And it's not about convincing the executive, it's about convincing the membership, it's about convincing the general council that this is where we need to go. We have had so many years of rhetoric. This is the time for action, and this is why I'm presenting this solid point as blueprint number 1.
Go ahead, tell us.
Redesign for accessibility, expansion. We should be able to host an after-hour daycare. We should be able to host a small canteen that we can offer meals to our members at a discounted rate. We need to do these things, and I'm saying let us get a company to assist us. And of course, the last point under that is the creation of a resource hub. We need a digital CSA. I've been stressing that from the one in the campaign. We need a digital CSA. We need a CSA that responds to the needs of now. Everybody keeps saying, let's go back. Let's go back. I'm saying that the strategy that you would have used
what we used to do before
20, 30 years ago to mobilize people is not going to work now, and it has not worked. We need a hybrid approach. People don't want to come and sit down in a building anymore. They are more focused on getting their children home from after school. But if we present the CSA to them in the palm of their hands through the technology that we have, they can then sign into the meetings. And I have proposed, let us update the records of the membership. Let us assign everyone a unique number that they can then use to vote digitally. Introduction of digital voting is something that I'm very big on, and you can sign into your meetings, you can vote and be a part of the process.
Okay.
You don't have to come to the building to feel excluded. And we must push PR. We must push the PSAs.
So you can have meetings virtually also.
Correct.
Because a lot of people, I understand, attending and showing up and so on.
Yeah,
is a big deal.
It is a problem.
You don't see people, but still you get the complaints.
And so they feel left out. I'm saying, let us go to the people. Let us bring CSA to them.
Okay. The question I want to ask is the CSA hobbled by what has been a problem for a long time in terms of organizations and managing them and keeping the cohesion and the interest up and so on? A lot of people say there's too much of the old style friends thing. It's not a matter of this is what I want for the organization and this is what I want out of the organization. Nixon is my friend. We get on well, you know. He's a man, he talks well to me. He's a friendly guy. So I want him to be president of CSA. But there's no objective look at what he is proposing, what he brings forward. Do you think the CSA possibly has too much of this friends culture? You're going to find it everywhere.
Yes.
I'm not saying you can eliminate it. I'm not saying you can finish it. But is that one of the things that perhaps organizations like that were founded very heavily on the camaraderie and you know, basically the backslapping? Might that be a problem, that too much camaraderie has replaced competence?
You're saying that, and you're going back to the question that you asked me about the team. Because it's that level of friendship, well, not even friendship, but that level of, you know, we're good, so let's do this thing together.
Yeah.
Shelton, I have sat...
what they call that? The coterie, you know, the coterie kind of approach.
I'm not even sure the term, but let me tell you, I have sat at the helm of the Caribbean Environment Network. Over 20-something chapters across the region, even non-English speaking like Haiti and Cuba. I've sat at this organization as a deputy chair for 4 years and as its regional chair for 3. Okay? The people that I had the opportunity of leading, they're from different countries, and we're not buddy, friends. I met them sometimes for the first time, but I was able to command the respect. So this is why I'm saying, yes, I might be going for president. I don't have a team of people that I want to be friends with that want to sit down at the table, but I believe the leadership has to be able to command the respect of the people. Command the respect of the people, organization first, CSA first at the core. And if you have CSA at the core, and I have CSA at the core, our minds will then gel and create the right type of policies to get the organization advanced.
Okay, all right. Any other things you want to go through in terms of, you know, your blueprints? Because I see you have medical insurance. I thought that was one area that the CSA was strong, and they had that one together. I know they probably were hit by the whole Clico debacle, you know, many years ago and so on.
We have some issues there, and this is why I'm presenting this. We've had some. The figures are not figuring, matching up.
The math is not mathing.
Right, and so we've had some issues with people not being able to get coverage in some instances, and so I'm presenting as part of my blueprint to fix that. Also, I want to touch on education, which is very important. We need to get education, certified education. The central government gives $150,000 every triennium towards education. I believe we need to partner with agencies such as the UWI, the UE. We have them right here at the global campus. We need to partner with the Soufriere College in Trinidad. We have the public service training school. Let us train our shop stewards. Let us train our IR team. We even have an IR vacancy now. We have so many people that needs industrial relations services, and we have a vacancy sitting there. I think we need to hire that person. We need to educate them.
Where do people go typically to study industrial relations if they are interested in the field? You mentioned Soufriere
College in Trinidad is one that's well known for that. You also have online education. You have the ILO
there's
training
another
school.
one. I see ILO. I go on the website and I see there's ILO ITC,
and they have
or whatever.
free courses there as well.
That they offer and so on. So why are we not tapping into it? I understand a lot of it has to do with sometimes you find yourself stuck with if you are asked for whatever is it audited financial statements or something.
Right.
Sometimes grants are available, and then you run into a brick wall.
That audited financial statement thing is something else.
The grant foundations and organizations ask you for audited financial statements, and this has not been done for many years and so on. So you hit brick walls even when things are available to get them. Can you just speak to those things for us? And if they are in fact issues, major issues, how would President Barry, deal with that?
We need to have an education agenda. We need to have an agenda that people identify with. I can tell you, we've mentioned these things today, and some people are like, really? Yes, it exists. And this is why I have an entire pillar in the blueprint that focuses on communication. Putting the information in the hands of the people, developing the reels, developing the PSAs, because that's how they are informed these days. They're not reading newspapers. They're not sitting. Some people listen to radio, some don't. But everybody is on TikTok. Everybody's on social media. The CSA needs to be proactive and be there too. Financial audit, yes. I've heard that on national television that there are executive members who blocked the financial audit. I want to dispel this. No motion was ever put to a vote at an executive level for a financial audit. This is totally false. The motion was placed at when there was a motion, a special meeting, called with a motion of no confidence against several members of the executive. The motion of no confidence was placed after the vote was taken on that. So while the vote was taken, the ballots were being tallied. People started leaving the room. We moved from about 500 people in a room to maybe about 30. So there was no quorum at the time when the vote was placed to say that people blocked it. Nobody blocked it. There was no quorum, you can't have a vote. So I want to dispel this. This is untrue, comrade. Okay? Communication, let us speak the truth. Let us not create panic in the organization. Let us build the organization. You cannot have a Trump philosophy that you would bomb them out of existence and then you would come in to fix it.
Capitalize on the chaos.
No, and this is what is happening. People are capitalizing on chaos and it must stop.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you want to do there in your blueprints? Sheet. We've just spoken about the recruitment.
Well, the policy reform, the policy reform I want to touch on, because you would also hear that Barry didn't do anything in the Constitution. Let us dispel this. A Constitution is not something that you just take anybody and make them review. Right now, I want to thank him. The Honorable Claudius Francis is reviewing the Constitution, and what I am working on the side is the electoral guidelines for the CSA. Because you don't put your electoral guidelines in your Constitution. It has to be a more fluid document, and this electoral guidelines will also speak to electronic voting and the role of electronics in our organization. Very briefly, we have, you've played the video. I've proposed the ex gratia award because as a starting point, we have a landmark case in Grenada, Hummelin Armstrong versus the Attorney General, and the High Court ruled that the removal of pension in 1983 was actually unconstitutional. We know that pension was removed in St. Lucia in 2003. What the government of Grenada has done since that ruling...
When you say pension was removed, what does that mean? I'm sorry, that one must have slipped me
in Grenada?
No, the removing of pension was...
The government pension, Government pension in 2003, where everybody now has to get... So you have people who retire at 55, who gets a gratuity and a pension from central government. If you've entered the service after 2003, in St. Lucia, you don't get that. You have to go to NIC. So NIC has a cap of $2,500 to $3,000, and that's how people at the higher level. Now, if you retire as a government pensioner today at 55 and you probably are grade 20, you probably would get a gratuity of close to $200,000 in some instances. Okay. And you get a monthly pension of maybe $4,000 or $5,000 in that range. Now, if you are retired at 65 on NIC as a PS and you enter the service after 2003, you get that $3,000 maximum or that $3,000 maximum. And that's our sad reality.
I must pay more attention to
Yes, so what since that landmark ruling in Grenada, the government has now is instituting a pension scheme where public officers are contributing to the pension so that they would get that, and they are still paying NIC, so that's still an option. Shelton, 10 years from now you cannot survive. Exactly, and talk about the people that are retiring at grade 10 and grade 11 and 12. You won't get that 2.5, you get probably 1 something. I think these are the realities of our people, and these are the real issues, and so that is why this is my agenda.
How can the union offset those kinds of,
We have to begin the conversation. Okay. We have to look at whether this landmark ruling and examine how it can apply within our St. Lucian context.
Okay, all right, good.
That is what people identify with, and this is why I am not alone in this move.
Okay, other areas of the blueprints that you want to touch on? I see.
Well, our membership benefits, and it goes wide.
We've already spoken about the travel allowance in the video clip. We saw that. We've already touched on the communication. But in terms of the finances of the CSA, a lot of things that they'll require money to do and to undertake and so on. Is the CSA in a healthy space financially? In terms of money in the bank, but of course there's not agreement because at executive things get voted down, there's disagreement, there's lack of quorum. Is the CSA sitting on maybe a good nest that it can draw from if only it could have that kind of agreement and cohesion and resolve to do things? Or is
I want to answer this question, and I also want to dispel something. There has been a proposal to pay shop stewards, and I want to see. The union was built on voluntarism. I've served in
has
volunteer.
that ever been done anytime before? By
Not in
else?
this CSA that I know
I
of.
never did know that shop stewards were getting paid.
Not in this CSA that I know of.
Okay.
And unionism has been built on voluntarism. I have volunteered extensively across Grenada in St. Lucia. My 10 years here has been based in voluntarism. The CSA doesn't have the fiscal space to sustain the payment of shop stewards, whether it's $10,000 a month. We do not have the fiscal space. And it takes away from what the trade union and the civil society movement is all about.
Is that a rising trend, an emerging
Well, it's been
culture that
proposed
people
now by a
want?
team. That is what it should be. And I'm saying that it's a dangerous precedence. Our shop stewards are not for sale. In terms of the financings, we have our strike fund. A strike fund is a strike fund, and that is what it should be there for. On a monthly basis, we do get our dues income. We get, we went to RCI. So if you're asking whether or not we have the money to get the audit done, in a phased approach, we can do it.
Okay. How do the intake or the inflow of dues correspond or correlate to the membership that you have on register and so on? Do they match up well enough, that you can say, okay, we have 5,000 members, by right we should be getting 5,000?
We do the reconciliation, they do.
And it is looking okay.
It's looking okay, but I have to say I'm a bit disappointed. We've lost some of our membership. But
lost them how?
Well, some people have left.
Just drop out of the union.
Some people have gone to other unions. Some people say they can't deal with all this fighting and chaos. And I really encourage members as I go around, stand firm in solidarity. Let us remember why the union was created. We were created for industrial relations. We were created to fight for better working environments. You understand? This is why we were created first and foremost. The other benefits, I spoke about the training for young people and others in entrepreneurship. We have the Youth Economy Agency. There is no reason why we should not be partnering with them so that they can offer training and even funding to our young people. We have our retirees and some people who do gardening. Every year, so many barrels come into the port, plastic barrels. There's no reason why we cannot utilize those and train our people in aquaponics.
Okay.
To do home gardening. I'm proposing the CSA Fun Day in May, which is when we celebrate CSA month. I'm proposing a digitized, let me tell you. You walk into the CSA Secretariat now, the receptionist has no computer, just a few big books and papers piling up. I'm saying that we need to digitize our operations because we live in a digital space. Only last night we had an entire panel discussion on the role of AI and digital world.
Yes.
The influence of digitization in the world of work. We need to make this a reality. We need to adjust. Barry is proposing a modern, stronger, digital, effective, efficient CSA.
All right, I see on the member benefits, you seem to have some ideas about how to build up the sense of organizational solidarity and cohesion and so on among people.
It's my training.
I
have a certificate in NGO management. It's my training.
Okay.
We need to bring people back together.
Little sports activities that you can organize, if it's a little dance here, a little walk, picnic, whatever it is and so on. So,
we need the partnership. The point one speaks about the CSA card. Right? And to get the CSA card, I think we need to update the records. And I've said it before. I've said it at the executive level. I said, listen, we try to do this thing on a mass level. But there's no reason why we cannot put a laptop by the receptionist and everybody that comes in to do the insurance, to do something, she simply updates their record. Then we can go, because the machines are sitting there at the TUF, The machines are sitting there at the TUF. We can then print the cards. We can create new partnerships with businesses to improve what is offered on the CSA card. Shelton, this has to be the message. It has to be a message of hope.
Okay.
It cannot be doom and gloom.
All right, okay.
We have to strengthen our institution.
Okay, Nixon, what we're going to do, we'll take our last commercial break. And then when we come back, we'll see whether anyone wants to call and, ask any questions, make any expressions, whether of support or whether of adversity. But I'm sure you've prepared yourself for all of that, so we'll see How that goes? Real Issues will be back shortly.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Life moves fast. To keep up, you need more than just energy. You need vitality. Introducing McDowell's Damiana, a celebrated botanical secret crafted for all genders, now captured in a single daily capsule. For women, it's great for hormone balance and reproductive health. For men, it's the traditional secret to peak vitality and stamina. With 300 milligrams of pure Damiana extract, it's designed for both men and women to support balance, mood, and natural spark. Reclaim your flow with McDowell's Damiana. Unlock the best version of you. Available at Health Service Center on the John Compton Highway and all pharmacies. You can also order online on McDowellsProducts.com. Rediscover your rhythm. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Morning walks, time with loved ones, and moving freely without constant discomfort. But when joint and muscle pain slow you down, even the simple moments can feel like a challenge. That's where McDowell's Pain Complex comes in. Formulated to support joint comfort and mobility, McDowell's Pain Complex helps you get back to the life you love, step by step, day by day. Move easier, feel better, live fully. McDowellsProducts.com. McDowell's Pain Complex. Rediscover your rhythm. Now available at all leading pharmacies and at Health Service Center upstairs the Napa Building on the John Compton Highway.
Soufriere Jazz and Arts, that's the best community jazz event in St. Lucia.
You heard it. Now come to Soufriere Jazz and Arts, the ultimate experience. Gramps Morgan. Voice. Montiel. VYP, Offerale, Ezra the Fun Machine, Imran Nerdy, Reasons Orchestra, Boo Hinkson and the True Tones. Now on a Saturday, May 2nd, doors open from 3 p.m. Get your tickets at $150 or indulge in the ultimate VIP Village experience for $400. Purchase at FourCircleTickets.com, the Cell Outlets Island-wide, and the Soufriere Foundation office. 9 incredible artists, 1 unforgettable night. And also join us for DJ Souf Creole Breakfast Fest Sunday, May 3rd. Admission free. The ultimate weekend in the ultimate location. Soufriere Jazz. The ultimate experience.
Stop letting your night be defined by trips to the bathroom. Waking up 3 or 4 times a night isn't just getting older, it's a wake-up call. Reclaim your flow and your freedom with McDowell Prostate Health. Specially formulated for men over 40, our premium herbal formula targets weak flow and frequent interruptions before they sideline your life. Don't just manage the symptoms, stay ahead of them. Get back the confidence of a full night's sleep and the strength of a healthy flow. Feel like yourself again. Pick up McDowell's Prostate Health at Health Services Center, pharmacies, or order online at McDowellProducts.com.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
You're listening to The Real Issues on Thursday, the 16th of April 2026. Tomorrow will be our closing program for the week, and don't forget, I've told you that as we have President hopeful for the CSA elections on the 29th of this month, we'll be having the incumbent president and a trustee on the current executive in the persons of Tekla Goodman and Cleopatra Anthony. They'll be on the program tomorrow. Meanwhile, we're taking your calls. The numbers to dial, you can call us on the landline, which is 4533911. Based on what I'm seeing on the screen to my right, it doesn't look like the WhatsApp has been able to be fired up as yet. So I don't know if Jaquan will be able to do that in time or if we'll just have to do without it today. But the landline is available if you want to call and pose any questions to Nixon Barry, the man who is vying by himself, not part of any team, to be the CSA's president when those elections are held later this month. So until you do decide to call, remember, I think the song is Solidarity Forever, for the union makes us strong. And no matter what happens, I believe, Nixon, if you are true to all that you have told us, that you will want to see the union remain strong, remain together, to maintain its solidarity and its cohesion. Tell us about that, if things go, you win, or the other way, you lose and so on. How would you like to see the CSA move forward? It has always moved forward, I know. But sometimes I get the feeling that a bit of sourness and bitterness and so on from previous clashes and conflicts and so on, that some people never get over it. An election is held, an executive is elected, but the sniping never stops and so on. And so, you know, people are always looking for ways, you know, to avenge themselves, whatever you might say. Tell us, how is Nixon Barry going to contribute, to do whatever he can in his own stead and so on, to see to it that the union remains strong, where its unity, its cohesion, its solidarity is concerned?
Yeah, if I don't win this election, Shelton, I will always have the motto: union first, institution first. I've served before, I will continue to serve even after. Whatever is needed to be done within my purview. And I'm hoping to continue to serve, but I'm also hoping to win.
Okay. We mentioned the ILO. Are there anything that they're offering that we can reach out to them to help with the union? Again, we've spoken about grants. I was told that a lot of grants, you know, are there for the taking, but certain things need to be put in place. I don't know about a lot, but okay. Yes. Well, some grants are there. But tell us, in terms of the partnerships, the international organizations, the regional organizations, the solidarity that you can tap into to help the union, wherever it is weak and wanting and so on. And this may be the fault of people who have been there in the past, or it may just be a simple situation that hard times hits you for various reasons. Yeah.
Well, we have the CPSA, Caribbean Public Service Association, and there's certainly room there where we can tap into the best practices of our sister unions across the region. We also have Public Service International, PSI, and they offer quite a lot of training in different areas. They push a sustainable development agenda. And you mentioned the ILO. The ILO has training and courses in industrial relations, in health and safety. Some of these courses are actually free. And not online. And there are others that you may have to pay for, depending on the level, because they offer up to master's degrees in some instances, in partnership with other universities. Right. We need to tap into these partnerships. We need to tap into this partnership because not just to get money, but also to get the technical support that we can utilize to build our membership.
All right. And there's also been, a lot of things are circulating around that while some executives, they come in and they're overly stingy, they don't want to free up a little, whether it is a stipend that is proposed for people, and then there are others who seem to have a little bit of a pork barrel tendency in them, to splurge and to, especially on friends and so on. Have you ever been concerned about the financial management of the union, whether it is being run in a prudent, or I think there's a term prudential, in terms of how much do you devote to that, especially which it is, with their friends and people who are their buddies and their comrades. Nowadays, comrade is a word that has been so tainted, by so many things. So I just want to ask you, in terms of the money of the union and ensuring that it is husbanded in a manner that is sustainable. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, of course. I've always been...
Call on the line, just hold on to less than a minute. Yeah, just hold on.
Since I've joined the organization, I've always looked at the financial prudence of how we spend and propose ways that, let's discuss how can we be...
What do you think about, was it actually happening? Was it proposed to give a bonus of $300 to executive members, even though they were getting a stipend or honorarium or so on? Do you know about that?
When I came into office with the rest of the executive, and let's be clear, we had a mixture.
Okay, hold that thought for a moment. I don't want to keep the... Hi, Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Daniel.
Yes, hi.
And good afternoon to your guest.
Yeah.
As one that is aspiring to become president, I have a question for you. In what year the CSA was formed and how many presidents has graced the seats of presidency?
What year is CSA?
Yeah, say he wants to ask what year was the CSA formed and how many people have been president since that time.
I don't have the exact.
I think it's testing your knowledge of history.
We're certainly celebrating.
How you could want to be president?
We're certainly celebrating.
I think that's what he's throwing on you there.
Okay, yeah. We're celebrating 75 years as a union this year. In terms of how many presidents have passed through the CSA, I don't have that figure in my head. But as to whether that qualifies me to lead the union forward or not, I certainly think that there's greater essence to what I offer to the leadership.
Okay. Until we get another call, continue the point you were making about the money and what I said.
The bonus, right?
Yeah,
so in 2024, when we sat down as an executive, we were made aware, and we knew it before, that past executives during a period of time was receiving a bonus at the end of the year. And this is something that we would have campaigned against. We sat as a team and we took the decision to not accept a bonus. We continued the support for the staff, and we voted against it. So we placed that to rest. Yeah.
So when you come, what would you be proposing?
No bonus.
Okay, no bonus and so on. Suppose you're executive, which is you're not part of a team, that they minded otherwise, and then they decide to vote you down and so on. And this is one of the keep the financial reform and shepherding of the union's resources and so on. What if you find people who are fractiously minded or they're otherwise minded and so on? And so essentially they can cripple President Barry's vision for the union and so on. And you can find yourself to be a lame duck president and so on. What are you going to do?
And I think
don't tell me you'll resign. Okay?
No. Yeah. And I think that goes for anybody. Whether you're in a team, you're not in a team, I think it has to do with your leadership style. Whether or not you're able to convince or lead the people to believe in your vision. Additionally, majority rules. Majority rules, and you have to be able to respect those decisions as a leader. That has been the core of organizational movement. The masses has voted, and sometimes you have your reservation. But the union continues to live. We do it at national elections, where we have a time to cast our ballot and speak whether we agree or disagree. Within the organization, it's the same. And people have said, "Oh, Barry, you've been silent. We're not hearing you." I've said, listen, I vote my conscience at the executive level. I vote my conscience on the general council. It sometimes aligns with some people. Sometimes it does not. It aligns with others. But for me, I believe in voting on what's the best interest of the organization. What I will not do is to lend my voice to the public discourse and attacks on people. So if that is my guilt, or what is referred to as silence, then I guess I am guilty.
Okay. We're getting another call now. Let's take it. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good
We're hearing you.
afternoon.
Go ahead. We are hearing you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
I just want to plead guilty with respect to not having been able to listen to the program that was, I believe, on DBS about the CSA and the panel discussion that actually took place, was it the same Wednesday, with respect to the union and things like that. But what I want to say, I don't want to really cast my whole persona as far as the union is concerned. I don't want to do that because I have been somebody who acted in the union from 1979 up to the time when I vacated it. When was it? In 1991 or 1992. And we have to recognize the fact that the union is celebrating 75 years of existence. That 75 years of existence was not without toil and struggle.
Correct.
And I heard something transpire a while ago about paying shop stewards for whatever. I want to say and emphasize that servicing in the union is a voluntary thing.
Correct.
Under the 11 or 12 or so years that David DeMarc served as president of the union, there was no compensation for members of the executive at this point in time. After a period of what you say of absence as general secretary, David DeMarc came back in the union, and I hadn't heard or recommended to the executive anything about compensating what you call it shop stewards for acting in the union. So that really troubles one's mind with respect to really going forward as far as the election of the CSA is concerned. One of the things I would wish to see is that, and I'm not really singing my own thing, is that I'm proud that the debate is really coming over the media with respect to the election of the officers of the union. Before that happened, when elections of the union was taking place, virtually less than 100 people were voting for the executive out of a membership. At one time when I checked it was 3,000. That to me was undemocratic and things like that. So I am proud to say over the 75 years that the union has progressed, and we have this debate taking place in terms of representation at the executive level. And I also, in saying so, I still don't want to cast my persona over what has transpired. But what is going on here now with respect to the future of the union is a very, 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 very fundamental and important issue in terms of the leadership of the union, the roles of shop stewards in terms of the structure on organization of the union, and as we go forward. I have been speaking to people about these kind of things here, even maybe locally in the Canaries area. And what people are saying, Yubat and Bois Union, Sakive Union, they have no voice. What that tells me that the trade union movement is in a comatose position. Comatose to suggest that there are issues, either positive or negative, that takes place with respect to the advancing of workers' interests, for which we don't hear nothing, or the public don't hear nothing about the trade unions going forward and these kind of issues. The other issue, and I don't want to cast my persona, I want to make that excuse, is that fundamental going to the union going forward and playing its role in terms of civil society, the workers which they represent, their interests. There needs to be unity among the union. Certainly. As far as where I sit, I don't think there is unity from the CSA. I may be wrong. The CSA have been divided into two poles from the time in when was it, 2014, I'm sorry to say, Sister Mary Isaac, as then president, split the union in terms of the progress and what she was pursuing. Yeah? So we need any executive member or executives that are really perfect. We need to underline the issue of the unity of the members of the union. How you can have a union and you would want to put pressure on the employer, and I have something going on is that there is no what? There's no opposition suggesting that the union should be the opposition. I say, what? That must be a political issue. I don't want to cast my persona over that. Okay? That we need to strive for the unity of the membership. The unity of the membership have to start from the executive members who have to take an oath in terms of unity. We cannot have this unity at the executive level, which is the really body that really officiates the union administration. We cannot have this unity among the members with respect to the shop stewards and things like that, as far as that issue is concerned. There is no unity even among the trade unions themselves.
I wanted to ask about that. Yeah.
I don't want to sound too emotional on that matter. Where is the TUF? I'm not hearing anything about the TUF. The TUF was not created in 2006. What's my partner name? Oliver Lawrence knows a lot about that. For just negotiating jointly. The TUF is supposed to be a voice for the collective of the union. I had things going on about medical, the Cuban medical, the medical issues and things. I'm not hearing. People don't realize the extent to which medical doctors in St. Lucia have helped to advance public service in medicine going forward. So what are we talking about? So anybody in what is going on there who work their salt have to struggle and indicate to the members who are going to vote what is supposed to happen about the unity of the union members in these kind of issues and the unity among all the trade union organizations in St. Lucia. With people don't realize what's happening to the Caribbean, the position of America and the threat it holds for the Caribbean, the position of the lady in what you call it, Trinidad, breaking CARICOM and these kind of things, and the implications it has for us as public service workers and workers. But sorry, I get a little emotional. I'm Shelton. I'm very sorry about that.
No. I'm sorry for what you. That's a sign of conviction, the passion. Yeah. Thank you very much, comrade. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is something I wanted to ask you. The whole, I mean, the song about solidarity forever and so on.
Forever.
What about the inter-union bond and partnership and so on that we had? How's that working out? TUF and so on.
Last week I sat at a TUF meeting where we were looking at.
Give me 1 second. I don't like to keep the callers waiting in that segment. Hi, Real Issues. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello, yes.
Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello, yes. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Very, very good program. I want to endorse what the past president, Mr. Dimac, has said about the trade union movement on the whole in St. Lucia. I am very happy that the issues are being discussed openly now, so that you could get a lot of inputs from various people. In the question of the general thrust of the unions, there's a problem which I have with electricity costs. The cost of electricity is much too high in St. Lucia, and the unions can play a very good role in trying to reduce on the cost of electricity if they present certain issues. You see, in the case of electricity, all the industrial and manufacturing costs
can never make it. Of course, we can never make it in terms of competing with Trinidad. But the ordinary person is being taken for a ride. And that is because the electricity company from the colonial times have been given a high rate of return, just like how Cable and Wireless did. Now, I was responsible in the telecommunications area to break that monopoly. And I have said to the people in government today that unless they tackle Lucilec in terms of that high rate of return, we will forever have a high cost of electricity. So I'm hoping that the unions can make the necessary advances to the government to help reduce that. I personally have a formula which I have sent to the government, and they have ignored me. As far as I am concerned, they can be tackled just the same way that I tackled Cable and Wireless. And so I am putting this out for the people of St. Lucia to make the necessary advances to the government of St. Lucia to tackle that high cost of electricity.
All right.
That is a function which I think the unions together can tackle. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks. That, of course, Sir Calix George.
Yes.
Former senior civil servant, government minister in the areas of both agriculture and telecommunications, public utilities, and also a man who has been a stalwart in the trade union movement, particularly the CSA. Nixon, we're out of time. We have to wrap up, so, I can only grant you the better part of 1 minute.
I would just say that last week I had a meeting with the TUF. We had good representation from across the various unions. We're looking at a strategic plan of the TUF, and so we are shaping what the new thrust of the TUF will be. So there is collaboration. Let me just appeal to our CSA members to stand strong in solidarity. Even if you feel weary, even if you feel underrepresented, stand firm. Remember why you are part of a union. And I want to also appeal, let us support the future. Let us support this new CSA that responds to the time that I am proposing, and work with me.
All right.
I'm not a one-man team.
Okay.
I am Team CSA.
Thank you very much, Nixon Barry, and I wish you the best, whatever that best is determined on the 29th by the membership and the voting. Thanks, Jaquan, for another great job. We didn't have too many calls today, but that facilitated, I think, a greater depth of discussion. Until tomorrow, where we wrap up our programs for the week with Thekla Goodman and Cleopatra Anthony, Shelton Daniel saying goodbye for now. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday safely.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
The winning numbers for the midday draw of Thursday, 16th April 2026 were Double Daily Grand 9, 12, 14, 17, Big 4, 3, 8, 4, 6. The Big 4 multi-X ball drawn is FP. Pick 2, 8, 8. The Pick 2 multi-X ball drawn is 2X. One off, 6, 1, 1. Lucky 3, 5, 7, 8. The Lucky 3 multi-X ball drawn is FB.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no